And now back to the Gunsmith Show with John and Jake Smith.
All right. You know, it's the weekend. Doesn't it feel good? Saturday morning. I hope you got your Gunsmith Show coffee mug in front of you. But wait, you don't have one yet. Oh no.
Well,
we gave away 2 this week.
Did we really?
Our good friend Matt from the show is always out there and always promoting our show. And we had Mrs. Gunsmith Show, Mary, hand deliver 2 cups to him. And hopefully...
Did he jump for joy like a screaming little girl?
Well, it was kind of like that. Was it the Toyota thing where I gotta go? I don't think so. But anyways, he's happy. He's got his cups. And if you've been helping us on our Facebook page, like people like Mike, and I think this week, though, I think I know who it's going to be.
Uh-oh.
Let's see here. I think we've got my friend Mike Simon, Oakland County guy, listens to us on WFNT.com. Congratulations, Mike. You are the new winner of a Gunsmith Show coffee mug, and we'll throw a couple pens in there for you. Thanks for listening. Thanks for spreading the word on the Gunsmith Show. And if you want a coffee mug, well, you know what? We'll take the next caller right now. Right here at 810-743-8255. You get your free Gunsmith Show coffee cup, and we'll get one right in the mail to you. Or maybe even leave it here at the studio for you, and you can come by and pick it up. 810-743-8255. And then now the rule is, though, you get a Gunsmith Show coffee cup.
You have to tell us.
You have to take a picture of you smiling with your coffee cup and send it to us on Facebook. Okay? That's one of the rules. Now, I take a picture with a carry piece next to it and say, there you go. It's a cold morning, and you put the gloves there when it's cold, or maybe you have the suntan lotion there and a smaller holster, smaller gun. Who knows? You know,
depends if you're listening to us on the sunny South Shore of Miami.
There you go. Well,
then where you will really need a carry piece.
Well, on that note, let's talk about the M-1 Garand.
Well, one more time. Our phone number in the studio, 743-8255. All you WLCO listeners, WFNT listeners, everybody, somebody out there, give us a call. You get a coffee mug.
A wonderful coffee mug.
And you know what the best thing is? It's prepaid right to your door, so you have like nothing into it except for call our toll-free number, and it's completely free.
There you go.
1-866-533-1530.
Awesome. And we have a lot of out-of-state listeners, and they email us all the time, and we're going to start something special for you email guys, because we're going to start shipping them out to you via email. And you can have it on your desk and get that conversation started in your office place, saying, what's the GSS.com? So all kinds of ways to win. And you're a winner for being here this morning listening to us. So what the heck? That's right. A great thing. We are going to get into talking about the M-1 Garand in just a couple minutes, but we do have a caller. So we're gonna see what's going on with the caller. But in the meantime, the SCI thing. Now, SCI is brought to us by... Hang on.
Safari Club International.
Yep, Safari Club International. And Safari Club International is the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Or is it, maybe just 7th, 8th. But I'm going to try to dig up the information here because it's all in my phone. So
well, while you're doing that, I'm going to talk about the M-1 Garand.
Awesome. Well, go for it. Let's hear about it.
Can I talk about it now?
Please do.
All right. Well, the M-1 Garand, it begins all the way back in 1918. When World War I ended, the military, the Army says, listen, we need something different to fight in battle with.
Yeah.
So they started looking for a gun with more firepower. But it's the same, more firepower in the terms of faster, more accurate shooting. So by the time the search was done, a guy by the name of John Cantius Garand, his rifle design was one that used the gas from the fired cartridge and to cycle the rifle.
Yeah.
Which is the auto-loading. It captured the gas, captured it, pushed it back, dropped it, ejected the old cartridge, racked in a new one. So it's the way it worked. Now, it won the government competition in 1937.
And that's how these things always go. It's always a competition. The government puts it out for bid, and then it comes in a competitive form. And it's a great way to do it because, it's not, they're not going for low bidder here. They're going for the best performance. What's going to be the best battle rifle for American soldiers?
Yep.
And by God, they did it.
Yep.
The Garand is an awesome rifle.
The first rifles were delivered to the Army in 1938.
Yeah.
So that's when the first ones were delivered, and I actually found a picture of serial number 3. Number 3.
Yeah, you showed me that last night. I'm like, no
and it's
way.
funny because it's like right in the middle of the receiver. I'm like, well, that's interesting. And you get up into the 4 millions, and the numbers are so small, but here's a big number 3 in the middle of it. But just in, we have a winner.
Uh-oh.
Dave Pytosh
No kidding.
of Flushing.
Dave,
Mr. Dave
congratulations.
Pytosh. So congratulations. We'll get your coffee cup in the mail. And thank you for listening to the Gunsmith Show.
You bet.
But
Good
you know what he
job.
didn't do?
What's that?
He didn't tell us what his favorite gun is.
Oh, Dave, call us back. Tell us what your favorite gun is.
Oh, he's going to take a picture?
But you're going to take a picture? All right, that'll work.
Hey, that's
Good
even
deal.
better.
Good deal. That's what we always want to see is a smiling face. A lot of people disguise their face. They hold the cup right in front of their face. All you see is their eyes.
You know what that deserves? A Gunsmith Show hat. Oh, wait, we don't have it.
We don't have hats yet. But we're going to get hats.
We're going to get the big camouflage Ted Nugent cowboy hats, and we're going to spray paint the GSS.
We're watching Ted on the metal show the other night, and you looked at me and you said, Dad, why don't you wear a hat like that? I said, because I'm not Ted Nugent. Nuge has to wear a hat like that, not me.
Anyways, all right, so back to the Garand. 1938 was when the first rifles were delivered. And by 1940, and they were all by Springfield Armory.
Yes. Which was, back then was basically a government entity.
Yeah, exactly. It was the government's
not
armory.
Not the Springfield Armory that we have today.
Now, by the time 1940 came around, the war in Europe, as we all know, was getting bigger and ramping up, and they needed a second source for these rifles because they saw the impending future of what was going to happen.
Right.
So, of all companies, they selected Winchester Repeating Arms to be a contractor to make the M-1 Garands, which is pretty amazing if you think about it. You pick a company like Winchester, known for its lever actions at the time, and all the shotguns and the lever actions and the bolt action rifles, and they said, hey, build this Garand. And they did. And by the time 1940 was over and the war was done, together these companies produced more than 4 million rifles for World War II.
Yeah. That's a couple.
Just a couple.
4 million of them.
Imagine that. 4 million rifles.
It's sad that we had to do that, but it's amazing that we were able to pull together and make it happen, too. Yeah. Think about that part. That's the amazing part.
Now, this is another interesting fact about it. America was the only country in World War II to equip its troops with an auto-loading rifle as a standard weapon. Britain had the bolt action. Germany and Russia both had bolt actions, but we were the only ones with a auto-loader rifle. But what happened after World War II? Well, most of these rifles were put in a storage. The others were loaned out to allies who needed a rifle to protect themselves against the Soviet Russia.
Yeah.
Best way to put it, I guess.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that have slowly been coming back, but they were the ones loaned out to allies. I think Greece had some.
Oh, they were all over the world.
All over the world.
They were the workhorse of the armies around the world.
But then,
I guess the coalition forces, our side.
1950 came around.
Right.
By this time, the United Nations was there, and we know what that did. But when North Korea, when the whole thing happened, Springfield Armory was asked to once again begin making the M-1 Garand. They were once again the primary contractor, but Winchester was not in it this time. They picked 2 new contractors to help them, and those were International Harvester and Harrington and Richardson, H&R, which is now owned by Marlin, and they're known for their single shots. But for being a tractor company and a rifle company together, and they both started making Garands.
Pretty amazing.
But between 1952 and 1957, for the Korean War, there was nearly 1.5 million M1 Garands produced for that.
Wow.
So that's 5.5 million M1 Garands.
That's a lot of guns.
From 38 to 57. So for almost 20 years.
What year was yours made?
43. November of 1943.
Okay. All right.
And in 1957, basically, the M1 Garands were kind of phased out of American armed forces because of the introduction of the M14.
Yes.
Which is essentially, they explained it very well. They wanted a M1 Garand with more capacity.
Right, with a removable magazine. With a 20-round magazine as opposed to an 8-round magazine.
So, very interesting. And in a 2008 study in the American Rifleman magazine, they ranked the M1 Garand as the #1 infantry rifle of all times.
Yeah. And of course, and I always like to hear what George S. Patton said. General George S. Patton, that is the
greatest battle implement ever designed.
Yeah. So it was certainly a big implementation of us winning World War II, us and our coalition forces. But let me break in for just a second. You're right in the middle of this M1 Garand talk. I just want to say this. Just got a message from our attorney, and he said, talking earlier about those guns being transferred from trunk to trunk during downtown Flushing, as long as it was done unloaded, it's legal. Okay? So when guns are unloaded and you're moving them, you're legally moving them. Loaded firearms are a complete different story. So that's when you can start to break some of those rules. And I'm sure we could get into much more detail. But thanks, Tim, for listening and for keeping us updated. I had mentioned that they were unloaded, and that was the safe part. And I assume that you never assume a gun is unloaded. You assume people are doing the right thing. You hope people are doing the right thing, especially out in public. All right. Now, Jake, I want to hear this thing.
You want to hear this thing? Okay, folks. This is record-breaking right now in the 1470 studio. Don't let Dan Foley know.
Dan, if you're listening, just close your eyes and ears. Shut the radio off.
It's not the glass you're breaking. Okay, we are going to rack open an M1, and you can actually hear the ping of the magazine. Let's see if it works good in the microphone.
Oh, I'd say that was perfect.
You ready?
If you know that noise, now here's the thumb buster. Oh, my thumb's caught in there. Oh, goodness. Well,
and it flew approximately 14 feet across the room. So I'm not going to pick it up again.
This room isn't 14 feet long.
but I think that's record breaking. We just set a new record.
All right. Well, that's the sound of an M1 Garand that's empty.
Yes.
When that ping happens, that's when a removable magazine flies out. I think it's called a clip, and it flies out of the gun. But that noise, when Jake got that gun, that's the first thing you want to do is, oh, Dad, I got to hear that noise.
Well, I had to buy those clips.
Well, yeah,
and that was one of the most hardest things to find, are these clips in good shape.
Yeah,
well, and it's amazing. All they are is a bent piece of metal with a couple bends in it.
Yeah, you used to get they had them in 5-gallon buckets at gun shows when I was a kid, and I tell you what, it was and they were like $2 a bucket.
Yeah.
Now
it's $1 a piece.
They're $1 a piece.
I found,
and you got to find.
I'm looking online, just
shape.
seeing what's available for 8 rounds are $1.99 a piece.
Yeah. 5
rounds are $5.99.
Yeah,
and if you want
a, I don't think you want to carry the thing hunting, but you could.
But if you want to buy a 1-round clip, $12.99.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's no.
And
fun.
these are still the rifles they use for.
Oh yeah, a lot of stuff.
The 21 gun salutes.
21 gun salutes, and there's a lot of guards at national cemeteries and such that carry them. There's still honor guards. You'll still see VFW gentlemen and American Legion guys carrying these in parades. It's a parade gun. Even the Genesee County sheriffs used to carry them. Now they carry the Mini 14s. So which is basically Mini 14. Hint. It's a tiny M1A just about. So it's very, very close. But I hope you enjoyed that sound effect.
We're gonna go out to commercial break on the same sound effect again. So
you ready?
We'll just go to commercial break. That way you can bask in the glory.
Say, are you almost out of rounds? Boom. Yep, he's empty. All right. On that note, we're going to commercial break. Be back in just a minute with a lot more gunsmiths.